Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Is this movie found footage?
Does this movie connect to the first 4 films?
And do you know what your neighbors look like naked?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig. And this week, quickly I'll answer these questions, yes. You can match these up if you go back. Yes, and how would I know? All right. Now, this week we're doing the second of 4 movies that one or both of us were leery about watching. Last week it was Hereditary, which I was leery about watching because I had watched the beginning and didn't care for. Pushed my way through it. Go back and watch that if you want to hear some back and forth with 2 very different answers between us. This one I think we align a little better.
Yeah.
But this was the 5th in the Paranormal Activity
franchise.
There's still ghosts and demons. And this is a different group of people. But they do tie it into the original film, actually.
They do.
In an interesting
they find
way.
a way to do that in every of them far.
But, you said that one of the... Well, we'll get into behind-the-scenes stuff later, because that's probably where you got it from. If you don't know the franchise before Part 5, maybe don't start here.
You definitely don't start here.
And before we get into our normal stuff that we do... In case anyone's noticing, he decided that he needed to grab a knife by the blade because he's not good at thinking. And I assume he was trying to match the Chucky face with, all the scars and stitches. So, he just yesterday had to get stitches in his hand. So if you're wondering why his hand has a bandage on one part and blood on another, it's because he's smart and... Someone passed him a knife, blade out, dumb, and he grabbed it, blade out, dumber.
Dumb. Yeah, super dumb.
Anyway, I figured in case the 2 people that view this
saw my mangled hand
and wondered.
Yeah, I get it.
All right. Is there anything else you want to discuss about the premise of the movie? Or the basic story? They took it in a different direction.
There's demons, but with Spanish people.
Yeah, they were Hispanic. It was a group of Hispanic people that this was happening to for the most part.
It takes place in 2012. Make sure to tell us that every 10 minutes.
Well, they do that in all of them. They tell when the footage was from.
Yeah.
But all right, why don't we throw up the trailer and see why it was we were hesitant.
Why do you have a bat in the back seat?
In this hood, you don't know.
Hey, what are you doing? You got a camera?
Please, inside now.
Did someone die?
I saw myself. The lady who got killed, she lives right under me.
I had an idea. Let's go check downstairs.
Holy, there's blood everywhere.
Katie and Christy.
What is this? This is some black magic stuff.
Hey.
She's got pictures of you. How does she have pictures of you?
Dude, I had crazy dreams. Check it out.
What is it?
It looks like a bite or something. I've been getting this weird feeling.
Have you guys ever felt like something's just watching you?
You got change?
Yeah, I got you. Careful, don't point the camera at them.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Hey! 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 Give me my back! Stop it! Stop!
Jesse, get up, dog. What was that, man?
How did you do that?
I don't know. I just don't remember.
Jesse, what's wrong with them?
I feel like I'm losing time. What the hell's happening to me?
That's Katie, and that's Christy, my stepmother. So they possess Christy and then Katie. The ones that are marked, they become the permanent hosts.
So what's gonna happen to him?
He won't be Jesse anymore.
Where did he go? Oh my God!
Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos.
She's talking about Jesse that has a bad spirit in the mind. She needs us out.
Saludas así como nosotros. Ave María, llena eres de gracia, el Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres. Amén, Santa Madre. Amén.
All right.
I didn't like that trailer.
Yeah, knowing what we know, having seen it, that trailer
It's like
was a bummer.
the movie.
But here's what I will say. We were hesitant because it starts with a couple shots that look like traditional movie shots and not shots that seem found footage. The
right,
very
they just
first
look
couple.
like movie roll.
Yeah. And one of my biggest problems with the Jersey Devil movie,
Yeah. Last broadcast.
I was angry that it
ended.
it gave away that it was faked because the last shot would have been impossible. And that made it look like there was going to be some shots that couldn't have been found footage. And I did not like the idea of a series of movies that are all found footage.
having something that's not.
Right. And there's a trailer for one of the more recent ones that also has that. And I was like, I hope not.
But that one's more, it's a documentary. So it's a documentary.
The shot
crew.
I'm talking about would not have. When you're driving to where you're going, you don't have a drone above you filming you in the shot wouldn't
Well,
work.
someone out there who shoots documentary style just nodded yes and that you're wrong. So I'm going to go with the people who make things and run cameras.
The thing I'm specifically talking about,
Yes.
no.
Okay. Colin, you're wrong.
Anyway, the point is there was a couple of shots that in the trailer that it started with that made me go, I'm out.
Yeah, kind of.
And then I didn't really give the rest of the trailer a chance
and like
because
the rest of it, like with the guns and stuff in there, and like shooting at things.
I was like, "What
and
is this?"
I know the story is demons, so I'm like, what is this? Some
Yeah.
Mexican gang war with demons?
I think the fail. Well, we'll get into what we think of the movie, but I think the biggest fail was the trailer.
so
Anyway,
far, yeah.
Now, before we get into the behind-the-scenes stuff, though, we've got to tell you that we're not here just to review horror movies. Matter of fact, our main thing isn't the fact that we love horror. No. What it is we like money. Lots of money. And how do we get money, Jay?
Selling ourselves.
We sell ourselves like prostitutes for big corporations that actually exist. And these are not meant to be funny, as some people have suggested to me. These are real products that actually exist.
Yes.
For example, this week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by Power Through Possession, a class on allowing a spirit, okay, let's be honest, a demon, enter your body, which can give you all the things you couldn't do for yourself. Say what you want about demon possessions and how they hurt you and those you love. Nobody ever tells you the flip side of the coin. Money, power, sex, anything your heart desires. In exchange for one teensy eternity in hell. Just a 1 hour class per week for 4 weeks and you'll be ready. We even have enough access to demons ready to take possession of you the day you graduate. Power through possession. Why worry about later when you can get the good life now?
And by Neighbor Watch. Neighbor Watch is a collection of cameras, listening devices, and other ways to keep a close eye on your neighbors. Folks, you may think you know the people next door, but what if they are different behind closed doors? What if they're a different religion, or worse, members of a different political party? You may mistakenly befriend these people, and nobody wants that, do they? Not in 2022, they don't. Neighbor Watch. Know who's really next door.
All right. Now let's get into the meat and beef of the show.
Meat and beef of the show. Dang right.
So, let's see. At around 4 minutes in, according to an interview with Jorge Diaz, when he did his scene where his character Hector performs a stunt on a laundry basket, he was supposed to glide downstairs fast. However, the basket, supported with a wire to pull down the stairs, along with a skateboard underneath the basket, its wheels removed, often got stuck between the steps. Finally, on the last take, a member of the crew yanked the cable, which brought down the basket and actor to the bottom, eliciting a genuine reaction. This last take was the one used in the film.
Due to longer production, filming didn't wrap until late July 2013, resulting in the original release date of October 25th, 2013 being pushed to January 3rd, 2014, making it the only Paranormal Activity film not to be released in the month of October.
This movie, alongside The Ghost Dimension, had the lowest box office opening weekend of the franchise.
First film in the franchise not to feature any nights.
Yeah, because they always said first night, second night, fifth night. It didn't do that. Takes place 6 years after the events of the first Paranormal Activity and immediately after the events of Paranormal Activity 4.
Yes. The first and only Paranormal Activity film to feature the Paramount logo, opening logo, and title card.
At around 25 minutes, in real life, Andrew Jacobs, who plays Jesse, has several tattoos covering his neck, hands, and arms, among others. Since all the tattoos were digitally erased in post, the only scene where any of his tattoos are visible is when right before the gangsters jump Jesse, when Jesse is kneeling at the vending machine, you can see a tattoo above his right knee.
There's a Wilhelm scream at around 30 minutes during the party when Jesse is drinking directly from the bottle.
And I think I pointed that out. I was like, ah.
Yeah.
This is the only film in the franchise that does not feature a camera point of view on its poster.
This is Andrew Jacobs' feature film debut.
It's the only film in the franchise to include nudity as of 2021. The sequel that year, Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, also did not include nudity. So, and I pointed that out. I was like, wait, they haven't had nudity yet. Like,
yeah,
it's R for the language, not really much else.
The first Paranormal Activity film in the franchise to receive an MA15+ rating in Australia.
It's the first film in the franchise to not have the shadow of the demon on the posters.
An alternate ending was shot but never released until the release of the documentary Unknown Dimension, The Story of Paranormal Activity, which had Jesse, Hector, and Marisol in the church with Toby, attacking and terrorizing the characters, but was later dropped by the director, and the film's ending was reconsidered by having it tie in with the original film instead.
Now Playing podcast reviewed Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones. The film received 3 recommends. Okay, I don't know that one.
At around an hour and 17 minutes, the cameo at the end, featuring Mika, is the end of the first film, just from a different point of view.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Features cameos from previous actors Mika Sloat, Molly Ephraim, Chloe Cassandri, Jessica Tyler Brown, and Haley Foote.
Aside from Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, Katie Featherston is the only actress to appear in all of the Paranormal Activity movies.
It's funny. Aside from, so except for one of them, she was in all of them. Well, then she's not in all of them.
Right.
So that's a dumb fact. And there was a body count of 7 total people that died in this film.
Yes.
They don't usually give that because not every
Yeah, not every movie.
We try to give
cares.
that, but we didn't even think of it for a long time. And the most recent time was Scream.
Yeah.
The newest 2022
Oh,
Scream.
did you remember your number?
No. Okay.
Okay.
So the Rotten Tomatoes scores, for those who don't know, and for those who watch this show on a regular basis, please forgive me. I do repeat myself for those that might be watching for the first time, but for those who don't know, it's not a score given by Rotten Tomatoes. What it is they take an aggregate of all positives or all scores and then figure out the percentage of them that are positive. So when they say 60%, for example, it means 60% of professional reviewers gave it at least a positive. So they're not ranking it. They're just letting you know where it stands overall. And it's 34%. Whoops, no, with the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually go first.
Oh, the critics have it at 39%.
Yeah. The people also get to vote on the website. And that's why it's weird that,
Yeah,
I always introduce that part, and then that time I forgot that I don't say it first. But yeah, the people have it at 34%. And that's never a good sign for a movie when the people like it less than the critics when it comes to horror or comedy, as we like to point out. Usually those get treated harsher by critics than is necessarily fair.
Yes.
And I think it got
unfairly.
Yeah, across the board, but we'll get into that. What was your? Would you want to go least favorite or favorite first? That we switch up, so I don't really care. Which thing do you want to talk about most? We'll save it for second.
Favorite
first? Okay. I would say my favorite scene involves, and it was shown in the trailer, one of the characters was being jumped, and as he was being beaten, he didn't know that he had also been possessed. Yeah. And he just kind of went like this, and the people that were beating on him went flying as it showed in the trailer, quite a ways. And it looked pretty realistic as far as you couldn't see the wires and whatnot that they used.
That they had to use, right?
Right. It looked really good. He kind of half-assed went boom, and they went like he was super strong from the demon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that my favorite thing would be just, I guess, Jesse's attitude. It seems fairly realistic with what I would assume a
possessed person would be.
Right, because he slowly went from just Jesse to an a-hole who was just starting things for no reason.
Yeah,
it started exactly where you said, where he didn't even realize he was possessed. He just kind of was trying to protect himself.
And then it became.
And then he was instigating
more.
things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it seemed like a realistic progression.
And you look surprised because you knew what I said ahead of time I was going to say, and I'll talk about that in a second. My least favorite, though. Let's do that. My least favorite is there's a cool shot where he's first discovering that something is protecting him.
Yes.
And he leans back and doesn't fall at this angle. And it's kind of like they have shoes that Michael Jackson used in a video, but that's for leaning forward, usually not for leaning back. And this went beyond where those shoes would let you
do it anyway. Yeah.
So there's obviously some CG, but you couldn't really tell until he gets up on a chair and does it again. And that's where I was like, I just saw how unnatural he went back if it were something really able to happen.
Okay. I didn't see it.
I did. But
my biggest problem with the movie is a different thing with CG, which is there's a point where his friend Hector has the camera, and the girl that has been in the movie was there too. And they're looking around, and Jesse had been gone. They didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, he teleports into the living room.
And there's this weird
and
warping.
There's a super dumb looking warp edit to make it look like, well, time and space is kind of warping around him.
But it was
for him
in
to
such an
teleport there, but it
obvious
was
this
very
was done.
bad.
I mean, nothing about that
Made me
looked
think,
like
oh, that's
it was
real.
real. Yeah. Like, I don't know what real would look like. I just knew it wasn't that.
Right.
The other thing that I was going to say is, and it's kind of a spoiler thing, that's why I didn't go with it, but if, skip ahead
we
a
already
couple
spoiled
seconds.
that Mika's back and
Yeah.
Katie's back.
The way it ends, for those who don't mind the spoiler and haven't skipped ahead, is simple. He goes, one of the main characters, not Jesse, was the
Not
other one, his
Jesse, it was
friend,
Hector.
went through a door that had a doorknob in the middle and appeared back in time during the ending of the first film. And it shows you a different area of the house
During
the ending
the
of the
very
first
ending
movie.
of the first
It shows when Katie actually kills Mika.
Yeah. Which you can only hear off screen in the original.
The reason I didn't end up going with that as my favorite thing, even though it was cool the way they tied it in, it simply didn't line up time-wise. They did it, and it took much longer, which maybe the answer could be time travel was happening, time warping was happening, so maybe that would make it take different amounts of time.
Or seem different in different places.
Right. So I don't know, but that
maybe it felt faster because it was more.
But we tried to line it up and it didn't work,
yeah.
and I was like, yeah, that. So I couldn't make it my favorite, but that would probably be my second favorite thing is how they tied it in.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think I'm going an 8.
Really?
I think I'm going 8 with this.
I'm going to say 7, not because it's not good, because 7's a good score. It's still a positive review.
It's definitely
like
better than any 3 or 4 that they've given.
If they gave a crap at Rotten Tomatoes what we said, that would just be another positive review from both of us. But my thing is, I'm comparing it to other movies in the franchise.
Yes.
I'm not going to compare it against other found footage because that's not necessarily fair because each one should be thought of on its own. But this one I will definitely say,
within this own series, it's definitely not the worst one.
But it's definitely not the best one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't go quite as high. But anyway, 8, 7, still positive. If you like this franchise, I do recommend it.
This was a pleasant surprise.
It seems like we've done everything we normally do, so why don't we throw it to there?
Yeah. You can go to channel... you can watch Fact TV on channel 1076 Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m. to watch this show.
You can like us on Facebook, and when I say us, I mean you can like Gory Storytime, and you can like Fact TV. They like to stream a lot of their programming live, and if you're watching live, hey.
And if you're not, how'd you hear us?
Because it airs on television too, and on YouTube. But anyway.
Yes.
Next.
You can go to factdate.com. You can watch a bunch of the back episodes of this. You can watch a bunch of the other shows that they do.
Yeah.
You can't watch any of the forward episodes of this. They haven't come out yet.
Yeah, you can't watch anything we haven't sat down and reviewed yet.
Yes.
That'd be some interesting technology. You can also follow us on the Twitter.
Yes.
I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I'm at Jiggly Fern Brain. I only tweet funny things that he says.
Mostly out of context. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube if you come across this, if you like it. Juggalo Jakes is the name of the page, but there's also a page for Fact TV. Definitely give them a follow too, and a like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
And that's about it, right?
Yep. So next week we'll be back with another one that one of us is
not in the mood for.
Right.
But we have to sit through.
Absolutely.
All right.
And until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.